JBN, we keep you informed. St. James man charged following illegal gun and ammunition seizure. 29-year-old Jeremy Williams, otherwise called Indian, a laborer of Montpelier St. James, is scheduled to appear before the Western Regional Gun Court on Friday, October 25, to answer to the charges of illegal possession of firearm and illegal possession of ammunition. The Freeport Police report that about 10:50 Thursday morning, a joint police military team was conducting operations along Copperwood Main Road in the parish when Williams was seen acting in a manner that aroused their suspicions. Upon the approach of the cops, he allegedly ran and was accosted and searched. According to the police, one Smith & Wesson 9mm pistol, along with 10 9mm rounds of ammunition, was found in the front section of his waistband. He was subsequently arrested and charged for the seizure. Man found dead with multiple stab wounds in Portmore. Investigators attached to the Portmore Police have commenced a probe into the circumstances surrounding the stabbing death of an unidentified man on Newton Avenue, St. Catherine, on Thursday. The deceased is believed to be about 25 years old, slim build, is about 5 feet 10 inches long, sports a low-cut hairstyle and has the number 27 and a 6 tattooed on his left arm. The police report that about 9 p.m., residents stumbled upon the body and alerted the police. Upon their arrival, the body was seen with multiple stab wounds. The scene was processed and the body removed to the morgue pending a post-mortem examination. Taxi operator shot and killed in Flankers, St. James. A man was shot and killed by gunmen in Flankers, St. James on Thursday afternoon, October 10. He has been identified as 43-year-old Ainsworth Blake, otherwise called Goo, a taxi operator of Central Avenue, also in Flankers. Reports by the Coral Gardens Police are that about 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, Blake was walking along a section of the roadway when he was ambushed by armed men who shot him multiple times. The police were summoned, and on their arrival, Blake was discovered lying along the roadway with multiple gunshot wounds. He was transported to the Cornell Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. A police source revealed that Blake was fingered in a shooting incident which occurred at the Sangsters International Airport intersection in Montego Bay in January 2018. Trelawney man linked to murder shot dead. The Falmouth police are probing the murder of a man who was shot and killed by unknown assailants while he sat in his car in the Trelawney Parish capital on Thursday night. The deceased has been identified as 25-year-old Everton Shields of a Falmouth address. Reports are that about 9:30 p.m., Shields was sitting in his motor car along Market Street in the town when he was pounced upon by gunmen who alighted from a motor car that had driven up. The men opened fire, hitting Shields multiple times to the face and other parts of the body. He died on the spot. Shields was recently released from the custody of the Falmouth police station, where he had been held for questioning in connection with last month's killing of a man in another section of the parish. However, the police have so far not established any connection between Thursday night shooting and the last month's killing. Reed Pinnock arrest leave Monroe embarrassed. The Monroe College community has reacted with shock to news that two of its most prominent past students, Professor Fritz Pinnock and former Education Minister Royal Reed, were arrested in a wide-ranging corruption probe in the Education Ministry. Reed, his wife Sharon, and daughter Cheryl were taken into custody along with Pinnock and the Brownstown councillor Kim Brown Lawrence early Wednesday morning as the investigating agencies made their first arrest in a year-long probe. Although it was years ahead of Reed in school, President of the Monroe College Old Boys Association Victor Johnson said on Thursday that his two younger brothers who are deceased and the sister who lives overseas knew Reed well. He could not offer much about Pinnock other than to confirm that he attended Monroe at the same time Reed did. I was speaking to my sister on Wednesday night and she was quite distraught. She went to Monroe's sister school Hampton and she remembers Reed quite well, he said. We at Monroe are astonished and slightly embarrassed over this negative news. That is not something we strive to be. It is only now that charges have been laid and so we await the outcome. This is not something we want Monroe Older Boys to be a part of, Johnson said. The Older Boys Association president said that Reed is a paid-up member of the organization while Pinnock is not. He, Reed, is not a part of the leadership and has not served on any committee but has always been a paid-up member. I understand that this year he has not paid the $5,000 annual fee, but I suppose it is because of his distraction, he said. Johnson revealed further that neither Reid, who was always an accomplished person, not dunce or shy, and always doing things and taking up leadership positions, nor Pinnock, would ever have the honor of being inducted into the institution's Hall of Fame if convicted. Reflecting on Reid's time at Monroe, Johnson said, "He was much closer to the church than to gambling houses or rum bars. He wasn't a man you could say, 'Me know you know, because me did see him one time.'" He added, "People are surprised, and I suppose you can call it shocked at the turn of events. If they are convicted, they cannot be inducted. But if they are cleared, that should not be held against them. Time heals wounds." Westmoreland residents urged to take precaution against leptospirosis. The Westmoreland Health Department has beefed up its public education campaign to sensitize the public about the dangers of leptospirosis. Health Promotion and Education Officer Gerald Miller told JIS News that while there is no outbreak of the disease in the parish, the department has to be proactive in light of the recent heavy rains. As such, he is cautioning persons against wading in floodwaters that might have been contaminated with animal urine. "We have been having some heavy downpours, and I've seen persons wading in waters in Savlamar and its environs. We just want to remind persons that by wading in contaminated water, the germs from animal urine can penetrate your skin," he noted. He said that persons should also ensure that children do not play in puddles when it rains. Miller said that sugarcane workers and persons who live near sugarcane fields should take particular care. They are at greater risk. Rats tend to traverse cane fields, and persons might come into contact with contaminated cane. As a result, they might end up getting the germs in their system, he noted. "We have been told by residents that in the cane harvesting time, the rats tend to migrate from the cane fields and move towards their drainage," he added. He said that individuals who work with or handle animals are also at risk. Miller told JIS News that the health department has been utilizing its weekly health program aired every Wednesday on a local radio station to impart information about the dangers of leptospirosis. Leptospirosis is an infectious disease caused by the Leptospira bacteria that could lead to possible fatal infection of the kidney, liver, brain, lung, or heart. While it cannot be spread from human to human, it can be contracted through exposure to the urine or body fluids of infected animals. "I know how Reid must be feeling," said Kern Spencer. Former Junior Energy Minister Kern Spencer says he, more than most persons, would understand the emotional turmoil being faced by the discarded Education Minister Will Reid and his 4 co-accused facing multiple criminal charges relating to alleged fraud activities at the Caribbean Maritime University. Spencer is one of only 3 politicians to have been charged with a crime in modern Jamaican politics. The other was former Labour Minister J.A.J. Smith, who went on to serve jail time for diverting money for personal gain from the farm work program in the 1980s. Since then, despite numerous cases forwarded by the Contractor General to the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions for charges to be laid against various Jamaican politicians for corruption, none has been successfully prosecuted. Spencer said that while he understands the public's clamoring for politicians to pay the ultimate price for alleged crimes, due process must be considered, irrespective of the political leanings of the accused. There's just a great feeling in the public that all politicians are corrupt, and that's a feeling that is out there for whatever reason, he said. People have always been suspicious of politicians and the political process, and even if the truth is staring them in the face, it's like there's just this need for the one to pay for all the sins that have been done politically before. The businessman reasoned that things have gone down before in the past on both sides of the political divide that need explanation, but added that what this development has also shown is that no one is above the law. So in my case, I didn't and still don't have any ill will against anybody because I can understand why the public could have been led to feel this way. But I personally felt that I was being crucified for all of the wrongs allegedly done by politicians before me, Spencer said. It's like they were saying, "We're not business, we catch one, and the good have to suffer for the bad. We have him in the system and we're going to sacrifice him for all of them. We're going to make an example out of that politician," he said. In 2008, Spencer was the Junior Energy Minister and a Member of Parliament for North East St. Elizabeth, found himself at the center of what became known as the Cuban light bulb scandal, in which he was charged with fraud alongside businessman Rodney Chin and Colleen Wright. The charges were for alleged irregularities under the program to distribute 4 million free Cuban light bulbs. The program racked up an expenditure of more than $270 million. 6 years later, in March of 2014, he was freed of the charges. Spencer said that Reid is the only one who knows the real state of his thoughts on the issue of guilt or innocence, but offered that even so, it is a nerve-wracking experience he wishes on no one. Based on what I went through, I think I have an understanding of what he will be going through mentally. I know how he must be feeling, but at the same time, if he believes he is innocent, then he has nothing to worry about. If he is innocent, and he has his documentary evidence, he will have his day in court, and he will have nothing to worry about because a reputation that is damaged can be fixed, said Spencer. The former MP said that even though he feel hurt about the things that were swirling around in the public, he knew that that was not who he was. That was not the current Spencer that my family and friends know and love, so I was anxious to prove through evidence my innocence, he said. Likewise for Reid, I think he would be devastated to see things come to this. We can only speculate, and I can only assume based on experience. I suspect that he will be anxiously awaiting to present his side of the story. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.